Hi my loves, and welcome to another live of mine. And I've chosen this day, Friday the 13th, on purpose. October is a massive month for relationship changes, and I am sure that so many of you are already feeling the shifts. There have been so many dreams that we're releasing in us, old relationship patterns, whether with friends, with family members, or even former partners. And you know, divine feminine is a very powerful theme in this month. Why is that? First of both eclipses that are going to happen, the first one tomorrow in Libra, a new moon solar eclipse is obviously ruled by Venus, and then the second one on 28th of this month is a Taurus full moon eclipse, also ruled by Venus. Friday the 13th, what do you know about this day, or what have you heard about this day? It is not your nightmare on Elm Street. Actually, the number 13 is a very divine feminine number that represents the 13 moon cycles, but also the 13 cycles of a woman's leading. Friday is a day in itself that is ruled by Venus, which means it is a day of the goddess. And the name in itself comes from the pagan goddess Freya, that was known for love, fertility, battle, and war. And don't we see a lot of that right now playing out in the world? So this month is massive when it comes to our partnerships, the one that we have, of course, within ourselves first, and the one that we have with others. When we look around us, there are a lot of people sensitive, because what is happening right now, and that's one of the reasons I'm wearing my snake blazer, is that we are shedding our skin. And what happens when a snake sheds her skin? We are very vulnerable because we are new, we are fresh, and we are entering a cycle that is very unknown to us. Also, because this eclipse in Libra in particular is in the South Node, we are also going to call back old personality traits that we have suppressed, that we have maybe ignored due to many other factors in our lives. And I can see this playing out in my own life, where the old crazy me is coming back in terms of creativity, but also the old business me that has missed being in certain areas of business that I used to be before, and now all of those personality traits are coming back up and are allowed to be fully explored again. So what I want to discuss with you is that right now people are very sensitive, and the reason for that is that a lot of us are very easily triggered. In psychology, we have a term that says if you're triggered by someone longer than 15 seconds, then it's usually your own inner battlefield. It's something inside of you that you haven't finished, that you haven't looked at to. And when we are getting triggered from somebody, then what tends to happen is that we enter our mind. And our mind replays old scenarios that we know, because that's one of the mind's job, is to store old experiences. And then we confirm that trigger based with situations that have already occurred. For example, we say, oh yeah, I remember this person has done this to me. Oh yeah, I remember that, my ex-partner has done this to me. And so we just go deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. When we get triggered, especially right now when we are very vulnerable, what is very important is to go back online. And when I mean online, I don't mean social media. I mean go back online into your body, connect into your soul, listen and calm down. And now when we say calm down, usually that triggers even people more, but what I mean with calm down is find that inner state of peace and neutrality. Listen to that voice and what it wants to tell you. In this month, where our relationships are going to be transformed, because the energies that are actually driving that in the background are very strong, they're very powerful, and what they're asking of all of us is to look at our own mechanisms when it comes to our partnerships. What are we ready to let go of? You see, eclipses are points of destiny for a reason, usually around eclipse cycles when they're especially touching your own personal planet, so it won't be the same eclipse for everyone. Then they bring in huge life changes, so that can be marriage, that can be, if you're single, you're finding a partner. If you're married and the time is up, you might have a breakup and a divorce. It can bring children, pregnancy, death, birth. So all of these huge life changes are governed by eclipses, and energies really speak for themselves, and we feel them. We need to understand that one of the main principles of life is what happens above happens below. As above, so below. So we feel all of those changes. And when we work with divine feminine energy, many of us work with goddesses. Now you need to understand that gods and goddesses are in source. They are in the creator. They are archetypes that are represented in us, in humans. So that's why certain people feel called to work with goddesses, or goddesses choose them because they represent the traits that this goddess embodies. So we work with them. But you can work with the goddess within yourself, but you can also go directly to source. It's completely up to you. And when we speak of divine feminine and relationships, I want to go a bit into divine feminine and masculine, because this topic is huge, and we're entering a new era where we are moving away from the strong masculine energy of competition, of structure, into a more feminine, our own inner intuition, and we are allowing ourselves to live with ease. You see, we are not used to live a life with ease. We are so used to hustle. We are so used to work hard to get stuff done. That's why this is an entirely new concept for us, that we can actually allow things to come to us, take inspired action instead of forceful action, and let things be easy. We are not used to that. So this is a whole new template that is emerging for us. And that's why, particularly in the time of Libra season, it's all about divine justice. And that justice is coming back now to us, which is reflected in our relationships, because Libra rules alliances, trade, justice, the whole justice system, relationships. So without Libra, we wouldn't have any of that. And what is more personal to us than our relationships? And I work with men and women in my sessions. And what is very interesting, especially when we speak of divine feminine, men ask me, where are those embodied divine feminines? There are so very few of them. And women ask me, where are those embodied divine masculines? The reason is that we are recoding our love template, and it starts within ourselves. When nowadays a man, and this is not for every man, when a man meets a truly embodied divine feminine woman, oftentimes he doesn't know what to do with her. And that's because men are very often used to women having certain behavior traits, not being able to communicate clearly, not loving themselves, not being in charge of their emotions. And so they're used to outbursts and drama and trauma and toxicity in relationships, coming very often from the side of the wounded feminine, as we call her. So when they actually meet a true divine feminine, she's not going to give you any of that. She's going to have real conversations that are based on her own inner trust, her own rootedness, her own intuition, because she's fully embodied in who she is. And that often, because she doesn't, let's say, throw a fit, comes across to men as if she doesn't care. But this is not true. You see, this is a whole new way of relating. And men always see that woman, they feel that woman, but they, because they're not used to it, and because often men also aren't in their power, what I call their own Apollo or gladiator power, they tend to fear this woman, because what it means is that they also often have to look at their own unhealed sides. And women on the other side often want to be the one that changes a man. And here's where I will tell you, ladies, that this is BS, and please don't do that. Because first off, a man changes because he wants to change. And this is a big part also of these themes, because the feminine is in all of us. It's in men and women alike. But a man also very often changes after he has met the right woman. And the reason is that when a man enters this dynamic with the woman that he loves, he is faced with a lot of his own darkness, a lot of his own wounds, and he might not be ready to deal with that. So what happens is eventually he loses that woman, and he realizes that he did. So he will not change with you and for you, he will change after you. So often when you meet a man that has dealt with his things and is really ready and shows up in the way that a man has to, you can rest assured that before you was a woman that taught him that, because it is the woman that leads the spiritual realm in the relationships. So I want you to use this time, this month that is really very transforming, to look in the mirror and to shed your own skin, to allow everything to just go. This is a huge cycle of letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, and it's so much letting go right now. It is very beautiful, it is very powerful. It is a time where we are getting brought out the best in us. You see, everything that is happening cannot take out anything in you that isn't already there. It's quite the opposite. It will bring out everything that is there. And sometimes these things can be uncomfortable, sometimes this can be ugly. But it's all about bringing us closer and closer into our power. So remember, divine embodied feminine women that are struggling to meet a partner or that are struggling in their relationships right now, stay in your power, stay grounded, know who you are. And for all the divine masculines out there as well, it is important that you do the same. Because the way we have done relationships, the way we have done our sexuality, our intimacy is going to shift. We are having huge universal background frequencies changing the entire energetics on planet Earth coming 2027. And this is going to be a shift that is going to be felt like that. And all the energies now are leading up to that. That's why we had a huge Venus retrograde cycle all up from June to end of August, where a lot of themes of us already came up when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to our finances, when it comes how we relate to others, our sense of self-worth. It has always to do with how we see ourselves. So you see that your biggest component is your reflection in the mirror. And your biggest component are also the others, because others are always the mirror to us. You see the symbol of Venus, if you look at the circle, you hold it and it represents almost a mirror. So this is what this is about. It's a complete reset. It's a complete new life, for some more than others. But overall, everyone is going to feel it. And remember also that October has the energy of number 8. So whatever we decide on, whatever we let go on in this month, whatever new is coming into our lives, is going to be amplified in 2024, which is the universal year number 8. So this is a spiritual background, an energetic background of what is happening. And when you get triggered, if you get triggered, remember to always go back into your body. Do not stay in your mind. Your mind is just going to reconfirm old scenarios and keep you trapped in that loop. Also confirm back to you a lot of self-sabotaging mechanisms. Down. We reach a certain level, doubts kick in. We go back down. So we need to cross that ceiling that can be very sneaky. And that's why there are layers to this. You see, we do not need to always heal all our lives. Certain things can never be healed, like, for example, grief, like a lot of trauma that is deeply embedded in us, but it doesn't mean we cannot live with it. It's how we go about it that is going to completely shift and change. Our intimacy is going to change, our sexuality, our sensuality. This is a month of deep feminine energy, of the deep mother energy in all of us. But remember, it's also the dark feminine that comes out, the rage, the anger, the frustration. So this is something that you might be feeling as well, because the energy is about releasing everything that you're not. Remember, you're the serpent, you're the snake that's right now shedding her or his skin.